the very first thing we need to know is that we don't know enough about astrology. We don't. Um, we can read books, they give us enough information. We can talk with teachers, we can read articles, watch videos. We, to be honest with you, we don't fucking know enough about astrology to really say that what I learned is the truth. Because what we what we love in astrology is the comfort zone most of the time. That okay, I learned the fact that Jupiter is the most benefic planet. It represents the guru, it represents the teacher, it represents the dharma, and that's going to give the most benefic results in my life. That's the one planet that everybody says it is the most benefic, yada yada yada, probably because it receives the maximum Ashtakvarga points, in the Vedic astrological system. But then what we fail to really accept is that when we actually go out and test and do readings and see, hey, Jupiter, you were supposed to be giving benefic results according to majority of the classics. You were supposed to be giving wealth and great things in a person's life, and yet their time period of Jupiter of 16 years is the most disastrous period. It is the most dreadful period, surrounded with death, surrounded with sudden changes, lack of money. Some people have had Swargottama Jupiter, meaning it's literally exalted in the birth chart, Navamsha chart, Dasamsha, and yet it gives the most dread results. And the reason for it is that lack of knowledge. Like for majority of my astrological life, I was like, okay, Jupiter is benefic and Jupiter is supposed to be doing this. And yet, in my own practices, then I'm kind of like failing. Then why is that Jupiter's doing this? And then when you are lucky enough, where I feel lucky enough to come across certain astrologers, certain, really hardcore researchers of astrology, that Jupiter was benefic for a certain time and certain quality of period. Jupiter, people forget, because what is it that you know about Jupiter when someone says Jupiter, what would you say?
Guru, your guru, your teacher, um, expansion, wealth with Jupiter,
Yeah,
spiritual knowledge, higher knowledge,
yeah,
family,
right.
children.
Children,
Yeah,
husband for a female.
yeah, husband.
And then what we ignore is those little tidbits of words in the classical literature where it says Jupiter is the heavy one. Like you hear about Rahu, Rahu's illusion and smoke and drugs and this and that. But Rahu, they forget to understand it's a bhogakarka. It gives you bhog. When you're hungry, it gives you food. Jupiter its first and foremost quality, it's a heavy one. It draws up itself upon you on the shoulder for the 16 years. If it's in your ascendant, you'll feel it throughout life. Like I've got responsibility. This is reality check. Why? Because again, we see a guru, right? Jupiter is a guru. And we think that in Jupiter period, we're gonna come across a guru. That's our most basic instinct, that we're supposed to be coming across gurus and teacher, or we're gonna become a guru. What we don't understand, what is the process of becoming a guru? Guru doesn't become a guru because he's going to give you the wealth and he's going to give you all the meticulous material things. Jupiter is the heavy one because a guru is sitting underneath the tree and he doesn't care for the wealth, doesn't care for even family. Detachment. Guru is detachment from what you see, because Jupiter is otherworldly. He's trying to give you to the other world, and this is why most people then feel like, okay, so my Jupiter dasha was absolutely worse. Jupiter was exalted, this and that. You know what? Astrology just does not work. It does not work. It does not work. And some people, you will see, they will leave that line of Jyotish and become more practical, scientific. Can science prove it? For them, science is everything. While science itself has the most limitation, because science's ability to know something is how high its ceiling is. So 100 years ago, science was here. That's what its ceiling was. Then came E equals mc squared. Okay, now is this. Now came your iPhones and 5G technology, screwing everyone up. As long only where their ceiling is, that's what is science. Where these gurus, these rishis, their science is like to Mount Everest. God knows how long science will take to reach that point. So when you don't know like actual meaning of certain things, astrology can just pass you by. The simplicity of astrology can pass you by. Here you have a scientist sitting, an astronomer sitting, but he realizes that astronomy is a scientific avenue, but it also has a depth, like a tree has roots. Like a tree has roots. Okay, so now let's say, Togi, somebody came to you, say, tell me what Venus is. What would your first essence would be?
No, first let me go back when you said Jupiter is a guru. Every planet is a guru, I feel. Now why?
Yeah.
Because every planet teaches you something.
Yeah.
And what is a guru? The definition of guru is something from you learn basically. So it can, and depending upon the chart, 9th house, we know it's a house of guru and teachers and philosophers, religion, all those connected to all Jupiter. But for you, 9th house lord can be Venus, for example, if you are a Virgo Lagna, or if you are like what is that, Aquarius Lagna, then 9th house becomes, the lord of the 9th house becomes Venus. So Venus becomes the guru for you. So to have certain planets as a guru, like to it's very limited in our, I feel it's very limited knowledge. So when I say Venus is also Daitya Guru. He's also a guru. He has the knowledge of Sanjeevani mantra. He has, and I'm sure if you learn mythology stories, the rift between the Jupiter and Venus, and then how he has gained the Sanjeevani mantra, which even Jupiter doesn't have.
But see, as a beginner of astrology, what would be a common man's view of Venus? What is Venus?
Venus is like god of love, god of passion, god of romance, god of all beautiful things, sex,
lust, romance. Okay,
but I think Venus is much more than that.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's a perception that, okay, this is Venus. When Venus Dasha comes in, you're going to be creative, artistic, romance, love, and all these things will come, and then you're going to become very material.
Correct.
You're gonna desire things.
True.
And there is this Vishaka effect there, because on one end, material things are great, right? We all want it. On the other hand, people are like, oh no, material things, that's bad. That's not good in life. We're supposed to be spiritual beings. We're supposed to be getting this knowledge. And so there's this double standard for our own selves. Oh wow, Venus is this, but it's also this. And this is where the biggest misconception lies, that we are putting Jupiter here in astrology, and Venus is always below. It has never been considered equal or above Jupiter because of what our perception is growing up with what we hear on TV and articles and books. Even some great teachers will just say that Venus is a lesser guru.
True.
Because it's taking you away from your spiritual sadhana. It's taking you away from going to heaven. And we don't realize that. The thing we have to first know, what do we know about ourselves? What do we know about astrology? And the teacher who's teaching us. How enlightened are they? Maybe they are enlightened, but they're not enlightened up here. They're only enlightened up here. So they are still giving you like a spiritual scientific view, which is still that point. They have not reached that point where they would be like, no, you are wrong. Venus may actually hold a higher seat than Jupiter in Vedic astrology, or just Vedas in general, or any Puranas in general. Why? Because it's that lack of passion for statistical serious research. We don't, and once you find out where Venus has come to certain gurus, Venus has come to certain mystics and said, this is not who I am. My real essence is devotion to God. So, and this is where we are like, oh, you have an exalted Venus, you're going to get all the money in the world. Exalted Venus, you're going to get the most prettiest woman in the world. But they don't realize, they don't think back. And
You are remembering Anandamaya Ma.
yeah, Anantamaya. Like, what we don't see is that where's Venus exalted? It's exalted in the 12th house. 12th house is escape, devotion, meditation, exit. And yet we're looking at that exaltedness of Venus as that Venus is just going to give us everything at its highest state. And when it's at its highest state, it doesn't give a shit about giving you anything because it wants to give you something higher than that. And you see that Venus, exalted Venus period, a person becomes much more secluded, much more private. They may even lose interest in devotion to marriage and relationship. They only want to devote something above. Why? Because relationship is what? Libra. Mm-hmm. And sign of Pisces is 6th from Libra, meaning it's causing obstacles for the marriage. And if you dive yourself into marriage with exalted Venus, you will have to let go and give death to your devotion, which will kill you. Because Venus will long for its highest position. So just from looking at just this simple, we don't even need to know. Like, people don't realize how Venus was inside Shiva for 10,000 years, learning Sanjeevani Shakti, Sanjeevani Mantra.
Yeah.
You can't be a simple, lustful, materialistic person to go inside Shiva, learn these highest and highest of Sanjeevani knowledge for 10,000 years, not even just a second. If we could do it for a second, we would be considered gods. Venus, Shukra did it for 10,000 years. Son of Bhrigu. People forget these things about Shukra. And once we learn that, no, who is Shukra? When we ask ourselves who is Shukra, we keep thinking cars and fame and beauty and creativity, but we don't ask, Shukra, who are you? We forget to ask that question as even astrologers. Shukra, who are you? And how do you learn Shukra? How do you get to Shukra? Through devotion to Shukra. So devotion to any higher purpose is Shukra first, Jupiter second. Same thing we do to Rahu. Rahu, what would be your just this basic understanding of Rahu?
Rahu, outcasts, foreign lands, kind of shady characters, shady places, extreme desire, wanting to consume, headless consumption.
Yeah.
Trump.
Trump.
Kind of Rahu, ego.
Very Rahu president, yeah.
Yeah.
Troublemaker.
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 This is what we all know. 99.99% of beginners and non-beginners. If I ask my mom, who doesn't know anything about Vedic astrology, who's Rahu? She'll be like, don't talk about Rahu. Demon. Okay? We have no clue. At least most of us don't realize. Rahu saved Earth from drowning. The guy you curse, the guy you try to run away from, the guy you're scared of, is the only reason why we are talking here, because he is the one who saved Earth from sinking.
Oh, in the Vara
the boar.
Avatar.
Yeah.
The Vara Avatar.
Rahu was honorable enough. Can you imagine getting your head cut off by Vishnu? Vishnu himself coming down, cutting your head. You have got to be, you can't just be some joke around the corner selling crack rock. For Vishnu to waste his time and cut your head, you have to be somebody far more intelligent, devoted, higher than anything else, that because you became so powerful due to your intelligence, that Vishnu like, oh shit, there's trouble in the neighborhood, there's trouble in the hood. And so the big homie comes down to cut the head off. Now, how honorable, first of all, how honorable of a death that is. That Vishnu came down and gave me death. Number two, I am eternal. And one of the things that Rahu says, which is unwritten, it's like an unwritten text, because Rahu does not, you don't know about planets until you relate to them. And through certain mystics, astrologers, devoted people, Rahu has said, I got my head cut off. And I'm sorry, this is something that I just have to do to you as well. Meaning, you will either be humiliated, insulted, and feel broken down, but I will then give you the eternal things that you are longing for. Why? Because after my head cut off, I became eternal. I will give you. This is why in books like Phaldipika, Uttakala Mitra, Rahu is a Bhoga Karaka. Why is not Jupiter a Bhoga Karaka? Why is Rahu Bhoga Karaka? And then with our limited understanding of Vedic astrology, just humanity in general, with our limited understanding, we vilify drinking, eating non-veg meat, smoking, or even just wanting to have fun, party. It becomes very vilified. Why? Because you're supposed to be a great Hindu person who does their meditation and who follows this, is a vegan, vegetarian, this. And why is that happening? Again, society has given this much knowledge of the Vedas. You know, societies are smart. Even religious pundits, everybody's so smart. It's like the Vatican. It's like the big government. They're not going to tell you every single thing that is happening. They only tell you just to keep you in control. But there are unlimited amount of manual scripts hidden just in Tamil Nadu that give you rest of what it is. And once you find out, you'll be like, whoa, why am I being vilified for doing something that I love doing? And that's where you just realize, as this stupid, mid-age astrologer, that I don't know enough. Yes, we know enough. We know about dashas and planets and aspects and Jaimani and all kinds of astrology, Parashara astrology. We know all these things, but then you're like, you know what? We only know enough. We don't know the true essence of Jyotish. And this is where we have to stop vilifying the malefic planets. Because as you know, Tamas planets are needed.
Absolutely. You need sleep every day.
Right.
You need fun. You need pleasure.
Pleasure.
Of course.
You can sit there like a stone. Because Jupiter's sitting like a stone, samadhi.
True.
And it's to gain knowledge. That's it.
So how do we learn about them? How do we?
You go to the highest guru. You go to the higher guru than what we have been taught. You go to Shukra. You say you are the highest of devotion.
And what about the gurus today? You see, there are so many things, so many gurus.
So many gurus are out there, and you are living in this world where the magic and reality are both mixed. So one is a magician, the other is a mystic. Both are performing similar miracles to your eye, but one can be caught and be proven wrong, which then vilifies the real mystic and a guru, who can, let's say, you're hungry, he'll create food out of thin air ether, which is actually a science because all the materials are in ether. You just need to know this. You need to open up your brain, learn some techniques to create something from ether and get food, get gold. You take Neem Karoli Baba or the old 1940s and 30s Nityananda, who would dive into the kuwa, in the well, And because the village was suffering due to some debt, he would get gold and gave it. And the police tried to arrest him, and they couldn't figure out how he got the gold. And otherwise, a magician can hide gold first and say, "I'm going to bring gold for all of you," and he will go into without any clothes and look, I have nothing hidden. He'll go into the well, bring the gold out, and people will be, oh, it's a miracle. And this is something that we just have to realize, that there is reality of the magic, the mysticism, the God realization, but then there's also the illusionary of it that makes you question the reality. And once you know that, and you see that somebody was caught performing some stupid scam, you need to realize that yes, this is fake, this is bad, you shouldn't be doing this. But I do know that there is that truth that exists with the real mystics who will never come out and show off that type of a thing.
It's very hard to find them.
It's very hard to find them. And this is where, and we can't claim, oh, this person's a Rahu and this person's Jupiter. A Rahu is needed for Jyotish. Astrology. If you just had Jupiter, you will not be able to understand the ritualistic side of Jyotish. You will not be able to even make predictions. Rahu, this is why they say it's exalted in Virgo and Pisces and Taurus, or Virgo and Taurus. Virgo
Again,
is
both,
the
it's a earthy sign.
earthy sign.
And it's a
Both are
Rahu's
earth
connection
sign.
with earth.
Earth, connection to earth. He's the biggest, he's like the president of earth. We forget. And Virgo is the exaltation of Mercury, the communicator. Second house is actually the home of Venus, which is our speech. And without that friendship of Rahu, who has that friendship with, if both Rahu and Ketu have friendship with Shukra and Mercury. Yeah. And they are like, oh yes, Rahu, we truly know who you are. We'll help you for you to make prediction. And what you say will help other person, will make that prediction come true. Where Jupiter actually doesn't even want to speak. Jupiter's just like, leave me alone. I know my knowledge, but why would I want to give it to you or even say anything to you? But it's that Rahu essence that wants us to then deal with the world at hand. Deal with this thing that it's safe. If you save something, you want it to be there and be improving. Why would Rahu want to destroy it? And this is where we don't understand. We take one planet and make it malefic. We don't understand. When you see that malefic person in life, that mass murderer, the mass rapist, is the collection of all the codes in the chart doing something, not just Rahu. Some of the biggest spiritual persons have had strongest Rahus. Why? They shouldn't be having strong Rahu, otherwise they're Rahu. But they're not. Because we're so stupid, we don't know what is what. And this is where what we need to understand is that devotion is needed. Devotion is needed. For us to the grahas, that I'm devoted to you, and here I am in your service, help me. And you start getting the true essence.